What is the inheritance of the believer? Please pay attention. The inheritance of the believer is not personal. You know where you give people your inheritance personally. Your father was wealthy, he had a car, he had 3 houses, he had some money in his bank account, and when he's dead, he wrote his will for you to inherit his property. All right? That's the way we discuss inheritance in our present day vocabulary. All right? That house is for my first child. The other car is for my second son. But Jesus can only give you what he has. Jesus cannot give you what he doesn't have. So if inheritance is to take of what somebody is leaving behind, then the inheritance of Jesus will be what Jesus has. Jesus can only give you what he has. He didn't have a house, so he cannot give you a house. That's why they couldn't eat the Passover in his house, because he didn't have a house. Jesus didn't have a car, so he couldn't have given the disciples property, car, house, money. That's why new converts, when they came in Acts chapter 2, they sold their lands and houses and brought everything for distribution to be made to take care of the brethren. So which means the inheritance of Christ has nothing to do with material possession. Material possession is the work of your hands, is the fruit of your earthly labor. That is how you came by material possessions. The inheritance of Jesus is the inheritance of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And in Genesis chapter 14, where Melchizedek, priest of the Most High, comes to Abraham in Genesis 14:18. Put it up for me. Genesis chapter 14 verse 18. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. Next verse. And he blessed him and said, blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. Wow. Possessor of heaven and earth. Possessor. That word is the word quana in the Hebrew. Possessor, quana. Q-A-N-A-H. It was used again for God. Possessor of heaven and earth. And when he said that, he was not talking about things. The word quana here implies to reclaim, to save, or to preserve. The word quana, it implies to reclaim, to save, or to preserve. Which means Abraham's inheritance, or what God gave him, is that in him shall all families of the earth be blessed. In Abraham shall all families of the earth be blessed. Which means Abraham's portion, which is the whole world, was God's plan of salvation for the whole world. Abraham's portion, which is the whole world, in this shall all families of the earth be blessed, was God's plan of salvation for the whole world. Abraham's portion was not physical things. Hence, when he ordained his son Isaac, who ordained Jacob, notice that Jacob and Esau have had this issue about birthright. The right of the firstborn, or the right of the first son. Now, if that right was property, then Esau couldn't have missed out. Because all Esau could have just said is, don't mind Jacob. He got my signature deceitfully. Let me change my signature. That's all it was. It was material stuff. The inheritance was that hands were laid on Jacob. And you notice that the effect of the hand that was laid on Jacob made Jacob took on the tax as God's prophet in the earth. Jacob became a prophet of God, anointed of God on the earth. Please pay attention. It wasn't property. Esau was wealthy. Cain was wealthy. The same way Cain was wealthy, Esau was wealthy. It wasn't material at all. Jacob was even the guy who struggled. Esau didn't struggle. So it wasn't material stuff. Which means the inheritance is not material. The inheritance used here is the word nashalah. Nashalah. N-A-C-H-A-L-A-H. Nashalah. N-A-C-H-A-L-A-H. It means to give you a portion. Nashala. To give you a portion. Or to give you a lot. To give you a portion, or to give you a lot. Or to give you a part. To give you a part. That's the word nashala. To give you a part. Look at it in Deuteronomy chapter 32, where God calls Israel his own portion. Now that's not material. Deuteronomy 32 verse number 8. Pay attention. Deuteronomy 32 verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. Next verse. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. So when Abraham was called the possessor of heaven and earth, it is because God gave him a promise to save all nations through his seed. It was nothing material. Look at Psalms chapter 2 verse 7 to 8. The book of Psalms chapter 2 verse 7 to 8. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Look at verse 8. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Now, other translations, but before that, who is that son of David? Is it the Christ? Yes, the Christ. So look at that Psalm 2:7 now with the understanding that Christ is the son of David. I will declare the decree. The Lord has said unto me, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Verse 8. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost part of the earth for thy possession. Other translations, instead of heathen, in other translations is written nations. I will give you the nations for your nashala. Nashala. N-A-C-H-A-L-A-H. For your inheritance. Now look at the next word. The uttermost part of the earth for your possession. The word possession is the Hebrew word A-C-H-U-Z-Z-U-A-H. Achuzua. A-C-H-U-Z-Z-U-A-H. For you to take. For your possession. Achuzua. Alright, Genesis chapter 17 verse 8. Genesis chapter 17 verse 8. And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land where thou art a stranger, and all the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. A choosua, for you to take possession. So the concept of inheritance is a responsibility. The concept of inheritance is a task. So which means Jesus in his resurrection gave to the 12 apostles that inheritance. Jesus in his resurrection gave to the 12 disciples that inheritance. What is the inheritance? Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel, or go and make disciples of all nations. Mark 16:15, Matthew 28:19, Luke 24:49, and 47 to 49. So just like Israel, they are given a task in the earth. The task carriers of God's responsibility. The task of being carriers of God's responsibility, or partnering with God, better still. Carrying on the earth God's responsibility, or partnering with God. In Exodus chapter 4 verse 22, pay attention. Exodus chapter 4 verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. I told you, when you hear the word son, it's not always like a male child biological. Son here is one that carries your responsibility, one that carries your image, or one that carries your thoughts, one that carries your responsibility, your image, your thoughts, or one that carries out your plans. That's his son. So Israel is my Benny. Israel is my firstborn. Firstborn, if you go back to Genesis, firstborn is that guy who takes over the father's responsibility. Firstborn is that guy who takes over the father's responsibility and liability. So Israel is my son and firstborn. Therefore, in Psalm 105 verse 13 to 14, pay attention, the whole nation. 105 13 to 14. When they went from one nation to another, from one kingdom to another people, he suffered no man to do them wrong, yea, he reproved kings for their sake. God is saying to them, this whole earth belongs to me. Which means their inheritance was the responsibility he gave to them. Yeah. That is, God is saying, this whole earth belongs to me, and I want the whole earth to be saved. I want the whole earth to be my house. I want the whole earth back. That is the inheritance. The inheritance is not property, it's not physical, material things. The inheritance is people. The inheritance is men. So in the resurrection as well, we are joint heirs with Christ. We are joint heirs with Christ. Look at Romans, the 8th chapter, the 14th to the 16th verse. Romans, the 8th chapter, the 14th to the 16th verse. For as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. Pay attention. For you have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. Next verse. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. Next verse. And if children, then heirs, heirs of God, and joint heirs with Christ. If so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. So he now tells you that we are joint heirs. He uses the word adoption. Adoption is the word hutesia in the Greek. That is sonship. We have the spirit of adoption. Now, but back up to Romans chapter 4 verse 13. Glory to God. Romans 4:13. For the promise that he should be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. Abraham, the heir of the world, or the owner of the world. Where the same writer writes about Abraham as the owner of the world. Now, it doesn't mean that Abraham will own all the houses and cars and banks. No. It means Abraham has a responsibility as the owner of the world to reach the world. To reach the world. That God will reach the world through his seed. Through his seed.
Yeah.